Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And yes, I have returned. I know I missed yesterday. I was insanely busy yesterday. A lot of stuff I had to take care of, but I'm on twice today. So look at what you have gotten. Twice today is not a bad thing at all. I'm glad that we got twice today. And my 1 o'clock show, and then again today at 7, a little bit past 7, but still pretty close. Pretty close. Guys complaining. I wasn't sure what I want to talk about today. I considered a lot of different ideas, a lot of different stuff, right? But something came to me today. Something came to me today because of what Trump is doing. And I haven't done much Trump stuff recently, but I decided now would be the time because Trump is offering people cash. He is. He's offering people, migrants, cash if they leave. He's saying, if you leave, if you self-deport, we'll give you $1,000. I'm not joking. You might think that's odd, but it's true. That's his plan so far. And everything that I was concerned about when it comes to deportation is coming to pass. Remember how I was worried about this deportation thing? I was concerned about it. I thought maybe they might be a little bit too zealous and go after the wrong people. Well, some of that has already happened, which is okay. I want to be clear. I wasn't fooling myself thinking that none of that would happen. I assumed some of that would happen. Government's not going to be perfect. Any big deal is not going to be perfect. But what I had hoped would happen, and I was wrong on this, is that the second a mistake was made, they would go, whoops, we made a mistake. Get this guy home. What are we doing? And they would err on the side of, due process, err on the side of Americans. What I was hoping was going to happen. I didn't think that was going to happen. I told you that. I think Holman is a zealot, and Holman will just throw people out, think later, right? That's what I thought was going to happen. That's kind of what's happening. So that's bad thing number one. Number two, they kept talking about, and it's another thing that the Trump people said, we're going to get rid of whatever, 10 million or whatever millions, get rid of all of them. And I was very forward. I said, it's impossible. It cannot be done. There's not enough money or bodies to do it. It is a physical impossibility to get rid of how many tens of millions of undocumented migrants we have here. 20 million, 30 million, whatever the number is. If it's more than 10 million, we can't do it. And we know it's more than 20 million, whatever that number is, right? For the sake of argument, we have 25 million undocumented workers here. Sake of argument. You can't get them out. There's not enough people to do it. There's not enough bodies or dollars or prisons or planes or whatever. It cannot be done. And I mentioned that last year. He was talking trash. So now we're finding out that the amount of people that he's deporting is about the same as the last guys, right? Obama's still a champ, right? Obama's still the deporter in chief. Obama's still a champ. So I know Trump wants to beat Obama. You're going to have to fight harder if you're going to beat Obama when it comes to deportation. You have to fight a bit harder than that. And he has not been able to do that so far. So that is my concern with that one, right? The second piece, though, becomes now this $1,000? Is it an admission that it's not working or not? I mean, maybe it isn't, right? Maybe this is a good idea. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. But is it an admission that, man, this is harder than I thought, and it's not going to work the way I thought it was going to work? That, right? That's an issue. But not just that, who is going to take this? Right? Who is going to take this? Right? Like, is a criminal who's here going to take and go, oh, great, I'll take my $1,000. Let's assume that there's a criminal who goes, oh, I'm my crime is slow this week. I can't make $1,000 in my criminal activities. I'll take Trump's $1,000. And he goes back to wherever, Guatemala or whatever is the place he goes to, and takes $1,000 and goes, I'm a criminal. I'm going to come back. They give $1,000, Trump, and a free plane ticket. I'm just going to come back. Why? Because I'm a criminal. If I'm a criminal, right? So the bad guys we're trying to get rid of, why would they take $1,000? Why would they? Right? Not just that. If you're a bad guy, why would you take it? And if you would take it, you just come back because you're a bad guy. If you're not a bad guy and you take it, why would you take it if you're not a bad guy? If you're not a bad guy, you're probably here working. Do we really want you to leave? Now, some people say, I don't care, illegal immigrant, got to go. But a lot of Americans go, no, if you're not a bad guy, if you're doing your work or whatever and making money and paying taxes, I don't care, you can stay. Most Americans do believe that. Almost all Americans want the bad guys to go. It's rare to find people in the American population, not the elite pundits. The elite pundits are also, keep them all. But the average American, regardless of political status, most Americans do want the criminals to go. That's true. But a lot of Americans don't care if the non-criminals go or not. Some do, a lot don't. So now all of a sudden you're talking about making this happen? Who takes $1,000? But more importantly, do you know how you get $1,000? This is true. I'm going to show you in a second. How you get the $1,000 is you get on a plane, you leave, then they send you the $1,000. Trust us. Who's going to take that? Right? And then there's the people who are actually, scared of going home, right? There are some, obviously, not all of the people who claim asylum are actual asylum seekers, obviously. But there are some who are, right? Whatever percentage that is it 10%? I don't know. Whatever the percentage, there's a small percentage who are actually asylum seekers. Those people do exist, even though they're far smaller than what some would make you think. But they do exist. That cohort does exist. So for that chunk, why would they take it? Right? If I'm really afraid for my life, if I'm really fleeing a country because of asylum, I'm seeking asylum here, $1,000, I go back? Of course not. Right? Because again, if I'm actually seeking asylum, I am afraid for my life. I think someone's going to kill me when I go back there, or I'm going to be put in jail for the rest of my life because government or whatever is the reason why I'm going for asylum. I'm not taking that. How's it going to work? It makes me feel like Trump is messing up. Let me grab a couple pieces from this. I want to grab 3 small pieces to talk about this piece so we understand what's happening here. One of them here is from Rising, and then there's like a Washington Post one or something like that. I'll show you all of them so you'll see what we're talking about here, just so you'll get it. For those of you who aren't sure what's happening, it'll be crystal clear after this. Hold on. Did we get there? We go. All righty. Now we are rocking and rolling. Okay. There we go. And a flight. Now, I mentioned this, if you remember, months ago. I told you that their actual goal was, was there no sound? Did I not do the sound? Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. There was no sound. All right. I'm sorry. Sometimes I mess this up. It said I was sharing both. Okay. Let me try it again. Hold on. Maybe I made a mistake. It is possible I made an error here. It did say I was sharing the entire thing. Did I screw it up? Says I'm doing it. Let me see if it's working.
The Trump administration is offering a one-way ticket out of the U.S. for illegal migrants. Self-deport for dollars.
Migrants will get a $1,000 flight, or they'll get $1,000 and a flight home if they choose this option.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said in a statement on Monday, if you're here illegally, self-deportation is the best, safest, and most cost-effective way to leave the United States to avoid arrest.
Now, there we go. I hope you guys heard that. I hope there was sound on that. Please let me know if there was sound on that one. I do think there was. In any case, the issue here is, I told you months ago that the actual goal of the administration was to get people to self-deport. Why? Because we physically can't get them. We can't go and get them. It's impossible. As I said earlier, there's no way we can do it. We don't have the bodies. We don't have the money. We don't have the facilities. We don't have it. It cannot be done, right? It cannot be done. So you have to get them to self-deport. So what was their goal? They thought, oh, we will use a stick. We will have Holman go in and be a wrecking ball and scare people and throw people on planes to El Salvador, creating a Salvador prison, and then people will self-deport. Now, what actually happened was something decent. There was a good outcome to this. People aren't coming anymore. That's true. But they weren't coming before he was aggressive. Once Trump won, the border started to slow down. Crossing already began to slow down because of the idea they won't be able to stay, they'll get thrown out. So that has already happened. So when it comes to people, migrants coming in, this has already worked. This wasn't required, right, for people coming in. Now, when it comes to people leaving, self-deporting, they thought if they were aggressive, people would get scared and leave. Again, I told you that, right? If they're aggressive and people are scared, they'll self-deport. Well, that also isn't working. So they went, wow, stick doesn't work. Let's try carrot. I wish I was joking. I'm not. That's what's actually happening. Stick didn't work. Let's try carrot, because they want to pump those numbers up. According to the old meme, those are rookie numbers, right? Again, Obama's still deporter in chief. Can't touch the world champ. Obama's still the world champ when it comes to deportation. He does the most, no matter what. And Trump maybe one day will come and be as good as him, perhaps. Also, Obama, by the way, those of you, I'm not a big Obama fan, but the point is, I got to give credit where credit is due. He was the deporter in chief, and people thought he loved immigrants. Well done, Obama. And not just that, bombed 7 countries and got a Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, top that. I don't know how you top that. That's impressive. So I'm not sure if he wants those numbers, but he has them. So yeah, let me keep going if I could. Oh, hold on. If I could. Duke of Beck, thank you for the $5 super chat. In the 1930s, Hoover signed the Mexican Reparation Act. Up to 2 million Mexicans were forcibly deported. About half were actually U.S. citizens. There we go. That's how that works. That's how that works. Yes. I've been saying this for a long time, and I keep saying it. The answer is find a realistic way to vet and keep the right people. That's the actual answer. No way in the world is what we're doing now the right answer. It isn't the right answer. The right answer is finding a way. And well, Larry, that's hard. And this isn't hard. And this is easy. All of these things are hard, but let's do the right thing. That's all I'm saying. They're all hard. There's no easy answer for this. Of course not. We've screwed up by letting in 20 million or whatever. Who knows the number? I'm making that number up. It's in that area somewhere, right? At least 20 million people into the country with us not knowing who, when, why, nothing. That's an error. Okay, we got to fix that, right? Even if you say, Larry, I want them all to stay. Fine, let's vet them then. I'll go, but Larry, most of them are good people. I believe that. I honestly do. That's not me being flippant. I honestly think that most of migrants are not bad people. I believe that. But again, the 1%, there's only 1% of them. Okay, well, if that's 1%, assuming that's true, out of 20 million migrants, that's 200,000 criminals. That's a lot of criminals. So even if it's 1%, and I'm happy to go there, 1% are bad guys. 99% are hardworking people who want to do, okay, great, I'll buy that. I'm not going to fight you on it. That's 200,000 criminals. That's a lot of criminals. That's a lot. I saw this in my city. New York City took in about 200,000 migrants. 1% are bad. 2,000 criminals came into my city. And we saw a difference. If you live in New York City, you saw the difference. Yes. Even if it's 1%, I'm okay. We still got to fix it. So thank you for that post. Let me go a little bit further if I could.
Logic behind this move is that, according to DHS numbers, it does cost around $17,000 to detain and deport an undocumented immigrant.
$17,000 to detain and deport undocumented immigrants. You're going to do that 20 million times. 20 million times.
Meanwhile, the self-deportation project would only cost $4,500, according to Fox News' Bill Malugin. DHS told Fox News that those who self-deport would be eligible to return in the future if they do it legally.
DHS says.
Now, that idea is actually a great carrot. Here's the problem, and I'm going to cover this in a second. They don't say when or how. There's no plan on when or how. Why would you trust them? There's no plan on when or how to get the money. Why would you trust them? If you actually were to say, you can leave, we'll give you $1,000. You can take that $1,000 that you get when we give it to you and give it to a expediter in America, and they'll expedite your vetting to get you back. That would make sense. People would do that, right? So you create an expediter class that would actually go through and get people, and you'll get them vetted and get them back in legally with that working visa or whatever is the appropriate visa for that person. You do that, and all of a sudden people, and that puts the money right back into the American economy. Now I'm giving $1,000, if assume they take it, and it's going to Mexico or Guatemala or El Salvador, wherever they're going to. Or you could say, hey, here's $1,000, give it to an expediter. You can come right back within whatever days, whatever it takes, with 30 days to vet you, whatever that number is. There's your money, get vetted, come back in legally. That makes sense. That is a way to get people and the right people to stay. Now, would criminals take that? No, because they get vetted and they won't be able to get in. So what it would begin to do is legalize the appropriate people that we want. They would take it, legalize it. These people don't trust them.
They've already paid one illegal migrant to fly back to Honduras from Chicago.
One did.
Senior fellow at the American Immigration Council, Aaron Reinel Melchick, sounded the alarm on Blue Sky, writing, quote, in a wildly deceptive claim, they say this will allow people to come back illegally. For many people, this is a lie. Leaving will make their cases much worse.
Meanwhile, podcaster Tim Pool wrote on X, well, this could cause a perverse incentive. LOL. Hopefully it works, though.
All these times.
Oops, I'm sorry. I always forget to change this over. I do apologize, guys. Let me swap that. I know you guys don't want to see these damn commercials. I know. I apologize. You see enough commercials just watching my show in general. You don't require any extra ones. I do apologize. So, yes. But anyway, I just want you to see that piece. Now let me give you some details on how this actually works, right? This is how it actually works. This is a short piece, hold on, from CBS. This actually expresses how this actually is going to work physically, how it's going to work. All right. This is physically how it's going to work.
The Trump administration says it will offer a financial reward to undocumented immigrants who self-deport to their country of origin. The administration says it will pay $1,000 per person.
But those who take part must follow the process. CBS News Miami's Yvonne Taylor joins us live from.
See, I don't mind the process, but the problem is the process doesn't actually get them back. They don't trust it.
An immigration office in Northwest Miami-Dade. Yvonne, why the financial incentive now?
Well, I can tell you one thing, that the process, the specific steps are through an app. The Trump administration.
You have to go through an app to do this. That's how it works, through an app. Now, they had an app, but the app didn't work very well. So now they have to change the app again. Yes.
Is saying that the program is 70% savings for the federal government.
That's a good idea.
Even though the undocumented immigrant will also get an airline ticket one way back home. Francisco is one of the people the Department of Homeland Security is offering $1,000 to leave the country voluntarily. Nothing is guaranteed, he said.
True.
I'm not interested, and I don't suggest anybody to do it either. This is the latest push from the Trump administration.
And that's the problem. They don't trust them, right? Because it's not clear. And you might go, well, Larry, it's illegal. They have to leave. They're not going to. I get the righteousness of, but they're illegal, they got to go home. I understand that. It just doesn't matter. You're not wrong. It just doesn't matter. They're here. This guy's he's doing interviews. He's doing interviews. And he's undocumented. They could grab him. He don't care. He's doing interviews, right? Gave him his real name. He don't care. So you can say whatever you want to say. It's not working. There has to be a better answer.
And we're going to get them a beautiful flight back to where they came from.
Flight,
we
not a
reached
regular
out to
one.
the Department of Homeland Security about the program. It responded saying President Trump ended the CBP-1 app that allowed more than 1 million aliens to illegally enter the U.S. Secretary Noem replaced this disastrous program with the CBP Home app. Those who wish to self-deport must do it through the CBP Home app.
Number one, it shows me that their app is not working.
That is correct. The first app wasn't working. The first one was not, right? Was that under Biden? I mean, I don't know if Biden made I forgot who made the actual first CBD. Do you happen to know, Mike? If you know, please, if you're watching, let me know. I forgot who actually made it. Was that Obama? Was that Trump? I don't know who made that app.
Billy Allen has been an immigration attorney in South Florida for over 40 years. He said previous administrations offered immigrants to buy them an airline ticket, but never money.
It shows me that they have not had enough people raise their hands and go, I want to go home.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, arresting, detaining, and removing undocumented
There's the dollars right there.
Costs taxpayers a little bit more than $17,000 per person.
Yep.
Self-deportation plus travel assistance is approximately $4,500.
Travel assistance, so to give them extra cash. So you get $1,000. The air. Now, how much? Wait a minute. 40. What? Travel assistance. What's that? That's extra cash. I'm serious, right? So if anyone's traveled, right, you get $1,000 cash, right, plus a plane ticket. What's that? At max, $1,000. I mean, probably 500, but maximum your one-way ticket is $1,000 wherever you're going. All right, maybe you're going to China or something. Okay, so maybe it's $1,000. Maximum $1,000. Probably more like 500, $300, whatever it is. Unless you're going first class. I mean, if flying back first class, I don't know what's going on with that, right? So you're getting so it's $500 maybe plus $1,500. Where's $3,000 coming from? Was that food? What? Oh, Sarah picked it up. I got to post this one. The immigration industrial complex. Yes, it is. Yes. They made a complex out of this too. Yes, they did. Because they always do, Sarah. Someone's getting that. See, you've answered my question. $1,500 goes to the immigrant. $3,000 goes to consultants, friends, vendors. Yes, that's correct. So they're like, yeah, just get rid of them because they're going to need help and I'm going to help them. Yes, there we go. 100%. There we go. So, all right, Mike came through. Mike says the CBP app launched October 2020, expanded 2023. Oh, so that means Trump actually started the app, right? So the Trump administration started the app. So you must know it well. It didn't work. Well, maybe they're going to fix it. Thank you.
Before the money incentive, U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem was vocal about self-deportation.
Yep.
If you leave now, you may have an opportunity to return.
You may.
Disagrees. That?
Didn't say when.
Yep.
How. Or if you will come back. If you think you're going to leave and come back with a tourist visa, it will never happen.
Voters Tom Holman was asked on this show how many people have left voluntarily through the application.
It's about 7,000 have taken advantage of it.
7,000 out of 20 million. That's not a win, my friend.
Don't let this fool you, told me Francisco, who is a construction worker. He said he will continue waiting for a solution to his case, even if he has to hide.
Now, as far as the $1,000.
Now, the issue we're going to have, what the Trump administration has been failing to do, even when it has decent policies, is they have not been communicating well at all. They have not been communicating well. You could communicate this and make this a real program. You could, and still save money. You absolutely could. That $3,000 that's going to scammers, take that and then give that to people who can create their own vetting systems to where they could follow the guidelines and the rules of whatever the federal government's doing, get a cut of that cash, and then vet them effectively. They could leave, get out, get vetted, assuming that they're vetted well, and if it's okay, come back in, legally stamped, all your stuff, know where you're going, everything you got to go, boom, go. You could do that. That would actually make it work. Now people would take it. Wait a minute. So all they got to do is hang out with family and friends or whatever, for 30 days or whatever is the amount, right? And if as long as I'm good, I get to come back. People would do that. But here's the best part. This goes back to it. If you find a way, what you actually want here, and people don't get this, people who just want to throw the immigrants out don't understand this. If you want this to work, you actually want legal migrants here. Why do you want legal migrants here? Because legal migrants know where the illegal migrants are. Legal migrants will tell on the bad guys, the criminals. Right now, illegal migrants will not turn on the bad guys. Why? Because then they go away also. But if they're here legally, Again, right now, if you try to find the bad guys, it's not that easy. If it was, they'd all be gone. It isn't that easy to find them, right? Some of them it's easy because they're already in prison. That's fine. But a lot, it isn't that easy to find. How do you find that? Well, you go into those communities. Most of them are in enclaves, usually national enclaves like El Salvadorians, right? Whatever, Mexicans, whatever, right? Whatever, Africans, whatever, different parts, right? Nigerians, whatever the illegal the migrants coming from, they stay in their areas, right? So if you go there and say, hey, I'm looking for Bad Pablo, they run away because you're going to take me too, right? But instead, if I'm legal, I go, I can't stand Bad Pablo. He's right over there. Go get him. This guy's messing with my people. I'm not going to jail because I'm legal. That's the piece, right? Matt says we need time to set up a snitch hotline again. You're not wrong, Matt. You're not wrong. That's actually not a bad idea. 1-800-YOU-SNITCH. I think that'd be totally fine as long as it's 1-800-YOU-SNITCH on Bad Pablo. That's it. As long as it's Bad Pablo, not Good Pablo. Leave Good Pablo alone. Only get Bad Pablo.
The federal government says that the person will get that when they get back to their home country.
That's when you get your cash. When you get back home. Okay.
Ask the federal government how would they provide that payment. We have not received a response.
No
We're
answer.
live in Northwest Miami-Dade. Ivan Taylor, CBS News, Miami.
They had no answer as to how they get the money. Why do you put this out? I'm serious. If I'm working for the Trump administration right now, I'm not letting you put this out. You don't have an answer. You can't answer the questions. You can't fix this. Why are you communicating? The communication in his last couple of, I got to give it to him. Like I've said it before. Last year, the Trump team had some of the best communication that Republicans have ever had. It was good. Their messaging was good relative to Republicans. Generally speaking, Democrats have better rhetoric than Republicans, generally speaking. It's nicer, it's more flowery, it feels good. It tends to be better rhetoric or messaging than Republicans. Last year, that was not true. Republicans had much better rhetoric and much better messaging than the Democrats did last year. This year now, I feel like, again, what I mentioned is happening. The Trump team has felt like they're untouchable. The Trump team has decided that it doesn't matter. They don't care. They're doing whatever. And because of that, they're not communicating well. Well, people will get it. People will understand. They're not. The communication is not good. The communication is not good. They need to have better communication because if this is a real plan, you got to have answers. Like you got to say, here's how it works, here's what we're doing, all those things. And that's not happening here. And it's a problem. So let me grab a couple comments if I could. I'm looking over at Instagram. And Christy for Freedom says, this is like gun buyback programs. The ones who actually went off the streets won't be taking advantage of the offer, more wasted money. Correct. If you have a gun buyback program, the only people who are going to give their guns in are those who weren't going to use them illegally anyway. Right? That's it. Or people who have an old gun who will make some quick cash. That's it. Right? My dad used to be a gangbanger. He left his gun here when he went to jail. I'm going to go sell it. I wasn't going to use it. I'm not a gangbanger. That's the kind of stuff you're going to find. I agree. The guy who uses the gun, to commit crimes, he's not selling his gun. He's using that gun to get money. Why would he sell it? That's a tool of his trade. Chris is exactly correct. Yes. She goes on to say, this deportation scheme is, oh, you said it already. Sorry. Yep. Yeah. Sorry. Same thing. She said it twice. So that's the entire point. I completely agree. Let me grab, if I could. Vivek says, it's a smart move. From what I've seen, it's cheaper than normal process. It is cheaper, but it's not going to work. I don't think it's smart. I think it's cheaper. Yes. Yes. Mike says, oh, yeah. Okay. Mike's not on board. He says, I hate the idea of rewarding criminals. This never works. True. This is not a good idea. It doesn't work well. And here's the worst part, Mike. This makes Trump look bad. I'm serious. It makes Trump look bad. It makes it look like what he did didn't work. So now he's doing this thing. It looks like he's running out of money or he's scamming. The look is not good, and it's not good because of the communication. This could have been communicated a whole lot better, and it isn't, right? But it isn't communicated well. You know this as well as I do. The Democrats going to take this and run with this for the next 6 months or whatever. Or, oh, he's failing, it's not working, blah, blah, blah. And sadly, it's going to work. Sadly for Trump, it's going to work. His team screwed this one up. This was not the right move for them at all. John, thank you for the 499, my friends. I do appreciate it. Yes, thank you so much. Guys, if you want to super chat, you can, right? Of course, as you hear me say all the time, I'm going to ask you a couple things. Number one, if you like what I'm doing, please click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Not enough of you are clicking it. And you can click, if you're on Facebook, you can click the other buttons, like the hug button and the care button and the love button and whatever. You can click all the buttons, whatever one you want. Click the button that is appropriate for you. But I like the one that is Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Please click that button. It does matter. If you have not reposted this someplace, do so. Share it into a Facebook page. Repost it on X. Repost it on YouTube. Repost it wherever. Make sure you are joining me, following me on Sharpe, Facebook, X, and Rumble. And Rumble. Don't forget Rumble. Rumble also. I'm going to be doing some more Rumble-only shows coming up here. Hopefully, would they be spicy? Last ones weren't spicy, but they were supposed to be spicy, and they weren't. People got on Rumble like, well, now I can be spicy. I'm not going to be spicy. You were supposed to be spicy. It's fine. Next time. All right. So I know it's close. If you can, please subscribe. It does matter on YouTube, Sharpe Way, and click all notifications so you get notified. That's nice. You can always super chat me on YouTube. Goes right to the front. Or rent me on Rumble. Also goes right to the front. If you want to become a member, that'd be awesome. I would spend less time working. I would have had a show last night. I would have had a show last night if I had more members. I would have. You can become a member on YouTube if you want to for $4.99. You can also become a member on Rumble $4.99. Click either the join button or the subscribe button so that you can make that happen. It's good if you can do so because, again, it allows me to work less and do more of this. So I hope you guys can do that if you want to. So, yes. All righty. Let me keep going down here if I can. There are so many of these. Let's see here. VA lady says, Sharpie, smash the thumbs up button. Correct. And follow and hit the bell so you know when Larry Sharpe is live. She's right. Yes. Michael says, logistically impossible, like de-arming the U.S. population. Correct. It is impossible, Michael. You're correct. That was my entire point. I said months ago, the whole goal of Trump's deportation was to encourage self-deportation. Theoretically, that's not a bad idea, right? I would obviously rather have people voluntarily leave than forcefully get rid of them. That's not a bad concept. I like the concept. How do you do that? By giving them an actual incentive, not by fear. Fear makes people, kind of shut down. And that's what happened. People shut down. People shut down in their home countries and haven't come. So that has been successful, right? I'll give Trump that. That's successful. You're not seeing more people come into the country. That's true. That's what he wanted. That's what he's getting. It's fine. That's what you want. You got it. But the people haven't been leaving. 7,000, this Holman says, out of 20 million. That's not a success. The goal was to self-deport. They tried the aggressive hammer. Should have been a carrot. And the carrot should be a realistic time frame for coming back if you still want to come back and if you are vetted appropriately. Now, that might not be 30. This could be 6 months. I don't know what the number is. But if you told people, hey, here's $1,000, give it to the expediter, you'll come in within 6 months or whatever the number is. Again, I'm not sure. I know it will be at least, to do a good vetting, it's a minimum of 2 weeks. But it could be more than that, obviously. But it can't be less than 2 weeks. That's impossible. You cannot do a decent vetting in less than 2 weeks. That's just not a thing, right? So maybe 30 days, maybe 60 days, whatever it is. And maybe it could be a backlog. Maybe you say within 3 months. Fine. You leave. Here's $1,000. Give it to an expediter. Assuming you pass vetting. If you don't, oh, well, you threw your money away. Your fault. But if you pass vetting, you can come back in 3 months. Now, in 3 months, they may not want to come back. What do you mean? Maybe they learn that things are better in their home country. Maybe they got a job in their home country. Maybe they don't want to come back anymore, right? Maybe they don't want to. Fine, stay where you are. Enjoy. Or you can come in. There was a way of making this work. They chose not to. So, yeah. All right, I'm see if I can grab here a couple more of these. I do appreciate you guys becoming members, of course. So, Mike says, given that Dems, state and city have been harboring illegal aliens, it's no surprise that mass deportations have slowed. Then the Dems fight to keep them no matter how violent. Well, yeah, but you knew that, right? That's my point. Yeah, it's no surprise. You're right. There's no surprise. Of course. The Democrats were open, saying they were going to be sanctuary cities. They were against this. They were going to fight. That one judge who got arrested was literally shoving immigrants out a window. Of course. I'm not saying you're wrong, Mike, but I'm saying they should have known that too. You knew it. I knew it. Why would you say you're going to get rid of 20 million or whatever number he said in the first year when you know that's going to happen? You know they're going to fight you. This was a mistake on his part. He should have said, no, I would love to get rid of them all, but I won't be able to. And here's why. And then you communicate well. And you say what you just said right now to the American people. I would love to. I will try. I won't be able because the Dems are going to do blah, 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 blah. You communicate that well. And people go, oh, okay, I get it. Okay, it can't be done because this. Yes, absolutely. Oh, Mike's allowed to say it's 1,000 plus part of the plane ticket. I hate this. Yeah. You're not wrong, Mike. Kim says, would it be less expensive than $1,000 opposed to spend possibly more on wages and other expenses involved in manning a deportation project? To be very clear, dollar-wise, Vivek is correct, Kim. Dollar-wise, this is cheaper. No doubt. It is. That's true. And I get why someone would look at that and say, hey, why don't we do this? Because it's cheaper. The question is, will it work? Will it work? That's the problem. Will it work? Now, on a moral issue, Mike is correct. Morally, we shouldn't do any of this. We should just use the cops and get rid of them. That would be the, again, I should say morally. Legally, sorry, wrong. They're not the same, obviously. Legally, Mike is correct. We should not reward these people. They've crossed the border illegal, blah, blah, blah. We should just go ahead and use the cops and get rid of them. Until, okay, yep, that's true. But with that in mind, that's way expensive, way hard, and almost impossible. Not almost. It is impossible. Matt's correct. It's impossible. We don't have the bodies, the time, the money to do so. So it can't be done. The errors have already been made. I wish we could fix them. We can't. That's not true. We can't. I wish we could go back in time and change them. We can't. But we can fix it by having an actual plan to make this work. This is not that plan. I've given you the plan for 8 years now. No one wants to listen to it. I've given you the plan. People don't want it. And we can fix it in the long term. Patty says, why do I feel we are heading backward to the blacklist area of Hollywood and McCarthyism-like times? Because we are. Your feelings are accurate, Patty. That's the reason why. Because it's accurate. Yes. Kim says, Fauci should go to Alcatraz. True. Lunatic goes one step further. I'm not going to say it because Lunatic wants to get me canceled. I'm not saying he should. I'm saying if it happened, I wouldn't be upset. That's what I'm saying, Lunatic. I'm not saying he should. I'm saying I would be upset if it happened. That's all I'm saying. Yes. If you remember, it always reminds me of, if you remember the movie Schindler's List, when Schindler is bribing some of the senior German staff to get more Jews to his factory to save them, he on one German officer, he puts on the table a bunch of diamonds. And the German officer is like, I'm not, all I'm saying is I feel uncomfortable with them on my table. He takes the diamonds. He didn't say he was doing anything. He just said he feels uncomfortable. He's taking the diamonds off. And then Schindler gets his people, right? But he just, that bribe, he just feels uncomfortable. That's all, because it's all. So I'm not saying I want it to happen. I'm just saying if it happens, it happens. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to be mad. But I'm not saying I want it to happen at all. I'm not saying that at all. So, all righty. Sean West says we need a new Ellis Island. Correct. And it can be privatized and work better. True. That is an accurate statement. Yes. All righty. Let me see if I can go here. All right. Matt says, what's crazy to me is people here illegally to stay. Hold on. What's crazy to me is people wanting people here illegally to stay. Like that sniz snots doesn't fly in Japan. Oh, okay. If you don't have a legit reason to be there, you'll be kicked out. Yes, however, there's a big difference here, Matt. There are not 20 million people fighting to get into Japan. That's not a thing. Now, Japan does have some illegal immigrants. It's true. It does have an immigrant issue. It does, but nowhere near our issue. It's nowhere near. It's not even close. They have an issue, nowhere close. So they're able to do that. They also have a much different environment to where their people will tell, they'll all snitch. So it's easy for cops to find the person, do the thing. So yeah, it's a different environment there. Yes, absolutely. All righty. Sarah says, I think it'd be better to offer a path to citizenship for those who are here illegally. Only the non-criminals would show up for this opportunity, then everyone else is processed as a criminal. That concept is also good. However, there's some howevers to this one, but it's a good concept. I wouldn't go as far as citizenship for many reasons. Number one, that's basically amnesty, and most Americans don't want that, right? You have to make it somehow a challenge for them to first get just legal status. Once legal status, then you create some way to, permanent green card, then some way to citizenship. So would there be a path to citizenship? I could accept it, but there's got to be stages. Whatever those stages are, I'm okay with it. You could do that. Yes, I agree. That's my entire point, right? And you could do this, Sarah, with this current process, literally, with what he's talking about now. Take $1,000, give it to an expediter, use the new Ellis Island, and get your work visa. That's not citizenship. That's not green card. It's a work visa. Now, from that, go through the system. Go get your green card, go through the system, go to citizen, go through the system. Then we're okay, right? That's how you could do it. So you could do that. It's effective. Mike says, Obama bombed American citizens overseas without trial or warning. True. He's a champ, Mike. He's the bombing champ. He is. Michael Villa says, Obama. It's in the name. We should have known it. Obama. Bomb is in the name. We should have figured this one out. That's our fault. We literally elected somebody with bomb in his name. Yeah, he's the champ. There's no doubt he is. Liberty Death says, Obama deported mainly white Europeans while allowing anyone with darker brown skin to stay. Is that true? I don't know if that's true. That might be propaganda. I'm not sure. But he does say the bomber in chief. Accurate. Yes. Gray says in 2022, there are an estimated 11 million illegal immigrants. Does that mean 11 million in the country or 11 million that came? New. I don't know which one that is. I've heard numbers of up to 20 million that are in here now over time, and now there's up to 20 million. That's what I've heard. I could be wrong on that. Mike, if you're listening, if you have a number, that'd be great. I don't know if you have an actual number or not, but that's the numbers I've heard. So maybe. Sarah goes, I like that expedite plus vetting idea. Yes, absolutely. But then she goes on to say, but then we still need an idea to deport criminals that works better than what we're doing. True, but once you have, again, legal people here, at that point, they will help us to get rid of the criminals. People don't want criminals in their neighborhoods. Of course not. Who does? You don't. They keep them there because they're also held hostage. But once they're legal and they're going to have cops support them, then the cops are going to get the bad guys. That's how you help it. Kim says, leave it to Larry to figure out the best way to make it work. Because I'm always trying, because I'm not making industrial complexes, Kim. I'm actually looking at how to make it work, not industrial complexes. Yes. Corey says, need to close borders and incentivize our citizens to have babies. Don't need outsiders. Well, two parts to that. I think that's partially true and partially not really true. We do want outsiders. I think we do. We do want the new blood, the new ideas. We want sometimes the work ethic is people who come here legally are self-selected, particularly those who come from places like Nigeria and China specifically. They often come with money. They're often entrepreneurial because they're entrepreneurial in their own countries and they can't become successful in their own countries, so they come here. We do want some of that for sure, no matter what. We want workers who want to take the jobs that Americans don't want to do. We do want some of those, absolutely. And we need to incentivize our citizens to have babies. Corey, I speak about that often. It is that we're not pair bonding, we're not finding mates, and we're not having babies. I agree. We should have both. Right now, America relies on immigration for us to grow. That's not the right answer, right? I'm happy with good, vibrant immigration, and we need to have Americans have babies. Both are true. So yes. Michael wants to be self-deported being a citizen. You put your $1,000 in a free ticket someplace. That's what you want. So yeah, I love that. Phil says, all illegal immigrants get mimosas on a plane. Is that why it's so expensive? Everyone's getting mimosas and lobsters and steak. Is that how that works? Mike's like, I'm signing up. Vacation comes. Let's do it. I love that idea. Let's go do it. It's crazy. That kind of thing is nuts. Yes. All righty. John says, Larry, thanks for being a member, John. How about a path to citizenship by offering people to go and work voluntarily in Greenland for half pay and some timeline, looking at Air Force Base and mining minerals, etc.? No sound bites. Not a fan. Oh, that was to you, I guess. Look, any of these things are not necessarily a bad thing. There was an idea someone came up with which was allow people to join the military. And if you do 4 years and you get an honorable discharge, you go straight to the front of the line as a citizen. That kind of stuff's okay. I don't mind any of those. I think all of those ideas are fine. I wouldn't want to make it mandatory that you become you join the military, but I think if that gets you to the front of the line, it gets you extra points or something, we do that already. If you're a veteran and you take a test to become a government worker, you get extra points on your test, right? So maybe you do 4 years in the military and you come out and you get some extra bonus to becoming a citizen, or some extra bonus to becoming a green card holder or whatever. Maybe once you pass boot camp, you become a green card holder automatically or something like that, right? I mean, I don't think all these are good ideas. I'm not against any of them, right? But the point is we should find an answer, and it should be voluntary. It should be able to do so. So maybe if you leave and spend 60 days into your country, you come back, you get a work visa. If you join the military, you get a green card or something like that. Any of these are good ideas, but we need to find an answer that isn't, let's just yell at people and try to throw them out. So yes, there we go. See, Mike says, no illegal alien found by U.S. should ever be allowed to re-enter U.S. under any condition. I think most people agree with you, Mike, and that's why people are afraid. They're afraid that no matter what, if they leave, they won't be able to re-enter. They think they're going to be illegal forever. That is their concern. I disagree. I think that we should give people an answer, and then once we give them an answer and then they get found, I agree with you. The point is we haven't given them an answer yet. If we create this Ellis Island idea and then people say, I'm not going, I'm with you. You had the opportunity. I'm giving it to you. Just go here. You have a way of being legal, or go home for 60 days and come back legal after you get vetted. I'm okay with that too. We have to create a way for these people to be able to somehow be here legally, whether that's a work visa, green card, whatever. I think path to citizenship is too far. That's my position. But if you got an answer for that, I'm open to that answer. But we haven't given them a realistic answer. They're just going to stay here. And our other laws, our asylum laws are garbage. So we haven't changed our asylum laws, which are garbage. That's why they take advantage of them. And we don't give them a way to get here, to be here legally. We have to fix that. Duke, thank you so much for the $5. The U.S. is a nation of immigrants. True. The problem is we've become a welfare state. People now come for a paycheck rather than an American dream. All right. Welfare state isn't paycheck. If someone's working to get a paycheck, that's okay. The vast majority of people who come here, particularly from the southern border, aren't getting a paycheck. Aren't getting a welfare check. They're getting a paycheck, not a welfare check. The vast majority are. Some do scam. Of course they do. I see it, right? But here in New York, most people who scam, they're Eastern European. That's true. They're like Russians, Ukrainians, whatever, Poles, like that. Estonians, Hungarians, like that. They come here and they get on a dole with a fake or something, a kind of ID they get from New York City. They start getting benefits. Illegal immigrants don't get benefits. Yes, they do. If you think they don't, you are living in a fantasy world. You're living in yes, they do. And the funny thing is they'll get the benefits and they'll still work. Yes. So how do I know this? Because in the city, I would often talk to hot dog vendors and limousine drivers, right? And many of them are either from like Middle East or Eastern Europe. And I just talk to them. So they eat my hot dog, talk to them back when I used to eat bread back in the day. So I eat some bread, talk to them, chat with them, and they just tell me, I say, man, where do you health insurance from? He goes, oh, no, I'm Medicare. I'm like, dude, you're not a citizen. Like I would tell him to his face, you're not a citizen. He's like, no, you don't have to be a citizen to get Medicaid. He would tell me to my face. Him and his kids. Guy got kids. Him, his wife, and kids on Medicaid. Was Medicare? No, Medicaid. On Medicaid. On Medicaid. Yeah. He's not a citizen. And I told him, dude, you're not a citizen. He's like, I'm not a citizen. No. So he's getting his benefits and he's working and he owns the hot dog stand. That's true. So it is a real thing. We got to fix it. We have to fix it. Phil, become a member for 4 months. Thank you, my friend. He says, we're losing member percentage. If I gift one membership for $5, will someone match? Garrett responsible for a lot of members. It's true. Garrett is like he's the champ when it comes to membership. That is true. That is true. Phil, thank you for the support, brother. I appreciate it. Every little bit counts. I do appreciate it tremendously. Yes. So, all righty. But I hope I made sense on that people do get it. So, yes. All righty. Grab a couple more of these. Liberty that says, snitch hotline ran by a bunch of ex-mafia members turned informants. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yes. Mike says, it's not about answers. This policy is about feels. It's a response to a left push for sympathy for illegals. So you think that Trump was concerned about how people were feeling about sympathy, so this was his response? I hope that's not true. That's a terrible response. And I can't imagine him thinking of this. Someone came up with this and he was like, okay, let's do that. It wasn't him. I can't imagine him coming up with this. Someone else came up with this. It's a dog shit policy, dude. You know it is. You think so, I think so. It's the dog shit policy. Someone else came up with this. It's not him. Yeah. I don't know. Phil, gifting membership. Thank you, my friend. Matt, gifting membership. Thank you, guys. Membership does matter, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yes, absolutely. Sarah says, I think criminals are making way more than $1,000 to stay here. Yes, that's my point. It's just like the gun buyback program. If I'm a criminal, I'm using my gun on a weekly or daily basis to get my money so I can pay my bills or buy my cool stuff or pay my rent or whatever. That's why I'm using my gun. I'm not going to give it to you. That's how I make my money. Well, if I'm a criminal here, I make way more than $1,000. If I'm a criminal, I'm only staying because I make way more than $1,000, or I'm not staying here, or I'm a really bad criminal. Either one. So yeah, I'm totally with you. Absolutely true. Yes. Okay. Matt says, again, by definition, aren't illegal immigrants by definition criminals? Yes and no. And what I mean by that, legally, yes, right? What Mike Voss often speaks about, he is legally correct. I'm not saying that he is wrong. I'm saying most Americans disagree. And politics is very often on what people feel, not what's legal, right? So people don't like it. What most Americans, not all, but what polls have shown us, most Americans in fact, the vast majority of Americans are completely happy with getting rid of migrants who have broken the law since they got here. The vast majority of Americans are like, yep, get rid of them. That's not a thing. But you ask, most Americans are not about throwing out immigrants who've come here who have not committed a crime and who are working and being productive citizens, productive workers. Most Americans are like, no, they can stay. We don't care. They can stay. They're okay with that. Now, are they legally? Are they illegal? They are. It's true. But Americans don't like it and don't want it. And that does matter. And I don't like the idea of them being illegal that way, right? I don't care. I'm the same way. I'm also the same way. I'm not mad at people who are coming here to work. I'm not. I don't mind if they stay. I want them to become legal. We should find a way to make them legal. Because I know the argument is, these jobs are being taken. These are jobs that, most Americans would do. That's not true. That's a story that we tell ourselves. It's not true. Most of these jobs Americans don't want to take. It's just not true. So, yeah. Matt, thank you for the membership, my friend. Another one. It's great. Thank you. Yes, indeed. Okay. Mastermind says, I'm late. Is there any food left? No, I'm fasting. Yes, I will be fasting until tomorrow morning. So I'll be fasting until tomorrow morning. So no food for me. Maybe for you. But yeah, there we go. Matt also goes on to say, I'm going to remind Larry to cuss on the Rumble Show. Thank you. I'll start dropping some F-bombs. Robert, how are you? These people have jobs and are working. They could be making more than $1,000 a month. True. Even they could guarantee it somehow. It's not enough to motivate many. This is not a good policy. Look, Mike doesn't like it. I don't like it. We agree. It's not a good policy. And my biggest issue is it's not even communicated well. It's not communicated well. It's not a good policy. And we could have found a better way of making this work. And we could have taken this policy and made something better. We could have done it. We did none of it. You guys are being great. Thank you. Johnson gifted a Sharpe membership. Thank you, Johnson. Sarah gifting Sharpe memberships. Thank you. Guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Keep doing that. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. So yes. All righty. Morgan says, thanks for continuing the live stream on Facebook despite the lower amounts of viewers compared to other platforms. Yeah, look, the issue I have on Facebook is Facebook has, why I've been mad so much at Facebook, Morgan, is because Facebook has devastated me. What do I mean by that? For those of you who don't know, my Facebook page has almost 90,000 followers. 90,000. On a great show, I get 1,200 views. On a great show, 1,200 views. Usually I get around 500. Yes, 500 views, 90,000 people. They haven't seen my stuff in forever. I get people all of a sudden go, Larry, I didn't know you were still doing stuff. They haven't seen anything I've done in 4 years. Because I got shadow banned in 2020. And since then, I used to get 5,000 views on Facebook. 5,000. Maybe now I'll get 500. Well, 5,000 out of 90,000 is more like it. And to be before, I know you got me ranting more. You got me triggered. And on top of that, when it comes to Facebook, I haven't grown on Facebook at all on my Larry Sharpe Facebook in 4 years. I've been hovering around 89,000, that kind of thing. So yeah, never. That's a problem. I don't grow. So yeah, I'm bothered. I'll keep moving if I can. So yes, but yes, I still do Facebook. I do Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, Getter, a bunch of them. I do decent Getter on Getter. Yes. Mike says, Larry, your idea creates a revolving door of criminality and opens up to more corruption. I disagree completely, utterly. Right now is what we have. We have a migrant industrial complex. You see it here in New York. So the migrants come in and government money goes to cronies. It's nothing but corruption. That's what we have now. This dystopia you speak of is not the future. It's today. Right now, we have horrible criminality, horrible corruption. You see it across the city. I'm talking about a system that would actually stop that. I know you're saying, well, legally they were bad. Great, so repent. Go home for 60 days. Pay an expediter. That's your punishment. You got to stay home for 60 days. You got to pay an expediter. There's your punishment. Take your punishment. Come back in. Go do your thing. That's real politique. That's reality, right? There is literally no way to get rid of 20 million illegal migrants in America. It cannot be done. We see it already. Cannot be done. So I have an option. Stand on my legality horse and shake my fist. You terrible migrants. I can if I want to. That's an option, and nothing will change. And I'll keep making migrant industrial complexes, and I'll keep making bad decisions, and this will keep happening. Or I can say, let me put down my righteous indignation, and let me come up with a plan that actually works and makes Americans happier and immigrants happier. That's what I'm saying, Mike. Does that mean a revolving door of criminality? Maybe. I don't care, right? I don't care. I want things to work. I want people to be better. Because some brain dead chimps in Congress made stupid laws, which they did. The reason why they can come here at all is because of our stupid asylum laws. You know this, Mike. Our asylum laws are stupid. They've been stupid for decades. They should have ended after the Cold War. All our asylum laws should have gone away after the Cold War. They didn't. Why? Because the brain dead chimps kept them. So, because they have stupid laws, we're all paying. Their laws are dumb. The court should have fixed it. They don't, because our judges are terrible. Our system is broken. So, something's legal, I don't care. Something's legal, I don't care. I want stuff to work. That's where my head is. I know you disagree. That's where my head is. So what? That's my head. Matt Ice, thank you so much for another membership. Thank you, guys. It's amazing. Thank you so much. We're gonna have 2 million members coming up here. Absolutely. Yes. So, all righty. Grace says, I feel the Chamber of Commerce Republicans learning all of this. Well, guys, I know some of you thought I was nuts, but I told you when those 20 million or whatever, 10 million came over the border, whenever they came, 200,000 to New York, I told you that was on purpose. That's not a mistake. It's not a thing. It's on purpose. Why was it on purpose? It was on purpose because they knew they would need these new workers. Why? Because the jobs that are opening up are jobs that Americans don't want. It's clear. We have tons of jobs that are open. Americans just don't want them. The migrants will take them. So I'm not sure they're all Republicans. I mean, many in the Congress are, but there's Democrats there too. They're business owners and business executives who want that labor. That's why they come. They come because business wants the labor. That's the reality. They have enough. They got what? X millions. They're happy. So they don't mind if the border closes. Close the border. We got our workers. They're here. We can use them when we want to work them. And that's what they wanted. So Americans who don't want those jobs will stay home. Look, Lars was talking about this a couple days ago on a different show. Lars Mapstead. And he's right. He said that one of the biggest issues popping up here in 2028 in that election is going to be UBI. He is correct. I've spoken about it before. It's the thing. We have to have an answer or we're going to get UBI. Now, some of you like UBI. Good. Good for you. I'm not a big fan of UBI at all. I've expressed my concerns with UBI, but I'm also realistic. I get that if we don't find an answer, that's going to happen. Even though people go, oh, UBI is terrible. Again, it doesn't matter. You can shake your fist all day. If you don't give people an answer, they will take a bad answer. I say that all the time because it keeps happening and people don't listen. But the answer is bad. Okay, what's your answer? I don't have one. Then we're going with the bad answer. Duh. Every time. If you don't have a better answer, if your answer, the law, no one cares. No one cares. There wouldn't be black markets if they cared about the law so much. No one cares. Do you have an answer? I don't. Black market. Do you have an answer? I don't. Bad answer. That's how it works. So have an answer or you're getting the bad one. Have an answer or they're going to black market and being illegal. That's how it works. That's why I keep trying to have an answer. That's the whole reason why I keep doing that. I think it matters. Yes. To go back, thank you for the $5, my friend. So if the migrants are here on purpose, why is the migrant being vilified rather than the incompetent politicians? Aha! This is why I don't vilify them. You are right, Duke. I vilify the incompetent politicians. You're correct. Why do I keep saying they screwed up? This is terrible. They should fix it. Trump's communication is terrible. Kathy Hochul's a goddamn joke. Eric Adams screwed it up. Yes. And I don't care, Democrats, Republicans. Yes, you're right. I've been very forward. I'm not mad at the migrants at all. I'm not mad at them. If I was them, I'd probably come here too. We let them in. And Biden was the worst. Biden was the worst. Let them all in. Well, look, if I'm sitting there saying, come on in, and I'm promising you the world, and I'm giving you IDs, and New York City gives out IDs to illegal undocumented migrants, it does. That's a fact. You can say I'm wrong. You're wrong. It's true. It does happen. So New York gives them out. So here's money. Here's IDs. Here's benefits. Show up. And they show up. And we're mad. Well, I'm mad at them. It's like I open up my house and I say, hey, guy on the street, come on in. I'll make you dinner. And he comes in, makes me dinner. I go, damn, why are you in my house? I invited you in and I gave you dinner. That's my fault. That's my fault. That's not their fault. Well, he shouldn't be in your house. I invited him in and I gave him dinner. This is my fault. Now, I may not like him in my house anymore. I could ask him to leave. But the fact that he's here, that's my fault. Now, what if I told him, hey, stay as long as you like? And he's like, okay, good. I'll stay for like a month. No worries. Now, after a week, I'm mad. It was my fault. I told him he could stay for a month. So I agree with you. And you don't hear me. I'm not mad at the migrants. In fact, I usually use a neutral term, migrant, because I'm not mad at them. Dude, if I was in some country and things weren't going well, and someone tells me I can go to this magical America place and make a ton of cash, hang out with friends and such, I might go too. It's our job to stop them at the border. It's our job to communicate effectively. Now, this part I will give Trump completely. The Trump administration has communicated and acted completely effectively to stop the migrants from coming. True. 100% credit. Far better than any president since, I don't know when. I can't think of a president who did a better job. I mean, maybe one did. I can't remember one. He's done the best at this. Total credit for him for that. Right? 100%. But they're already here. Now what? I don't blame them. I agree with you completely. It's not their fault. I would probably do it too. So, yes. So, Michael says, deport all illegals to save America. Go mooch someplace else. I like that one. Go mooch someplace else. Those who are mooching can leave. How about that? There is a way, and I talked about this years ago, Michael. And there were certain parts of DACA that actually made sense. Don't get me wrong, DACA was implemented completely incorrectly. It's not been implemented the way it was. But there were certain parts that were still good, regardless of how it was implemented. And the parts that were good there were two things that were critical on that DACA that actually made sense. One was that the person had to check in every 2 years. If they didn't, they could be deported. Nothing wrong with that. Smart move. You got to check in every 2 years, right? To make sure you're still good, you haven't gone to jail, blah, blah. And 2, you could take no form of public assistance. If you were a DACA, a dreamer, those 2 things are true. Check in every 2 years, no form of public assistance at all. Not EBT, not WIC, nothing. You can take no form of. If you follow those rules with work visas and vetting, why be mad? Seriously, Michael. If the people are getting vetted, so we know who they are, we know what's going on, they got disease, if they're a criminal, whatever, we know. And then if they are that, they don't get to come in. So people come in are vetted, and they have those 2 rules. They must check in or they get deported every 2 years, and they may take no form of public assistance. Why do I care? What if someone wants to make one of them a nanny and leaves them in the house and pays them? Fine. What do I care? It's all good. So I think if you follow those 2 rules, I think we'd be okay. We're not doing that, of course, but if we did, we'd be okay. All right, let me grab a couple more if I could. A couple of these. Oh, thank you, Phil. Another membership, guys. I really do appreciate this. Matt, thank you for the $5. I thought about another membership, but now I'm Matt Snow, and my watch has ended. And here's some New York coffee money instead. Thank you. You're Matt Snow, and your watch has ended. The watch can't end, though, except through death, right? Oh, but you're Snow. So you don't have, your watch can end. Okay. I thought the watch never ends. For the watch. Yes, I did get the reference in case you didn't get it. Some of you did not get it, but I did get it. So yes. All right. Okay. Mike has the numbers. Okay. I have 2 of them. Hold on. Mike Roden says more like 25 million. Oh, I thought it was 20. It could be 25. I'm totally open to that. Mike Voss says depends on who's counting. Quick search, 11 to 18 million illegals. I've seen reports of 30 million at the max. Average reporting around 20 million. That's what I heard, Mike. I thought I heard the average because there's really no way to know for sure. I heard the average is around 20 million. I've heard the same thing. That's the number I usually use because the odds are if I use 20 million, I'm close. That's my assumption that I'm close. It might be 18, might be 30, might be 25 like Mike Roden said. But I think if I use 20, I'm close. And the point is the reality, 20 or 25. Either way is crazy. Either way means tons of criminals. Either way means tons of workers and so much, there's no way we could get rid of them. It's physically impossible. So yes, that's just the way it is. Grace says per Homeland Security, it was 11 million. Okay, there we go. We'll see. All right. Sarah says that's not true about Obama. He deported a ton of immigrants from all backgrounds. That's why our numbers so far aren't that impressive. I actually didn't know that. I knew he deported a lot of people. I didn't know what the backgrounds were. If Liberty tells me they're mostly white, I guess so. I don't actually know. All I know is that he did do a lot of deporting. That I'm sure of. So yeah. So, all righty. Mastermind Hour says, who would have guessed how wrong Ringer was with his welfare queen's quotes? What's funny about Reagan is Reagan couldn't win an election today. Reagan was about amnesty. He was about amnesty. Yes, absolutely. Scott says, I wonder if this administration really wants outsiders. This ridiculous proposal of $5,000 being given for each birth seems bent on population increase without immigration. Again, I think I talked about this before. These things never work. The Japanese have been bribing their people to have babies for decades. Doesn't work. No matter where they tried, it does not work. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe there might have been one exception. I forgot. If I remember, there was maybe one where it actually did work in one spot. But it doesn't work. As I've said in this show many times before, Scott, the reason why we are not having babies in America is it's a complex reason, but it's a single reason. There's lots of complexities around this, but it's one reason. And the one reason is because we aren't pair bonding. Because women aren't pair bonding with men that they want to have children with. That's true. That's the reason. When women pair bond with men that they want to have children with, they have children. But it's about money. No, because poor women have children too. If they pair bond with a man that they want to have children with. Poor people have children too. Doesn't matter. Rich too. Poor. Doesn't matter. There's no such thing as, in fact, generally speaking, the poorer you are, the more children you have. It's not, people tell you it's cash all day long. It's not cash. That is a story people tell each other. It's not cash. Poor people have babies, so do rich people, and they don't have babies, and rich people don't either. It doesn't matter. Are women now? Could money be a reason why a woman isn't pair bonding? Yes. So that could affect it. Which I'm saying that one reason has a whole lot of stuff all around it that affects that thing. But we have to fix that thing. Anything that we do that doesn't fix that thing is not going to work. And writing a check is not going to fix that. There are other issues we have to work on to make that work. So I hope that answers your question at least. So yes. All right. Patty says, while in Albany Medical, after my stroke a few months ago, I realized most of the doctors were from India and most of the nurses from Africa, and all were traveling medical staff. Yes, and that is because our system is so broken, Americans don't become doctors anymore. Our system's totally broken. If you're an American doctor, you don't want to be in our system. You either want to become a private doctor and get written a check or credit card, as I talk about all the time, or you don't want to be in our system. Our system is utterly broken. Utterly broken. Doctors don't want to be here anymore. American family doctors now tell people that, tell their family members, don't become a doctor. It's not worth it. You're totally correct. It's everywhere, constantly. But yes. All righty. Let's see here. Sarah says, oh, and the priest too. Yes. That's what I think about. The Pope was supposed to become maybe I have a black Pope because they have because they call it the, what's the phrase? The browning of the Catholic Church. That's the phrase. It's true. A lot of Catholics now are black or brown. It's true. Yep. So could happen. All righty. Duke of Heck says, most of the 20 million illegals work, own homes, pay taxes, and contribute to society. Seems the rotten few speak for the majority, throwing a bit of racism. Is that true? I find it hard to believe that most of the 20 million own homes. I know most pay taxes. That I do know. Because they use a lot of fake numbers, and then they get numbers from other people, and they pay taxes locally. Of course, they also pay things like sales taxes and stuff like that. That I know. I don't know if they own homes though. That seems like a little bit of a stretch, but maybe I don't know data on that. It seems like that's not true. I would bet most of them are renters. That'd be my assumption, but I don't know. Seems the rotten few speak for the majority. Well, no, there's two options here. Do I think people are racist because they don't want immigrants here? I don't think so. I mean, of course there are racists. I never want to say there aren't racist people in the world. Of course there are. And there are racists in America. Of course there are. But far fewer than anybody would assume. Most of the people who don't want immigrants are not racist at all. Most just think it's wrong because it's illegal, or they believe they're taking jobs away from Americans. Neither of these things are racist. So, of course, I want to be clear. There are racists that exist, and people don't like brown people, black people, whatever, of course. But I think most people who are against this, it's not because of racism. Most of them think that either the people are taking the jobs or it's against the law. So there's a righteousness level there. I think that's what most of them think. And I don't think most own homes. I think most probably pay taxes, though. I know here in New York, there is a market in fake or used Social Security numbers. Like people who are like retired or whatever, or kids even, whatever. And people take their Social Security numbers to work. It's a very common thing. Happens all the time. In fact, they're not required to present the card, just the number. That's how it works in New York. So you go to work for a place and they ask for a Security number. They just tell it to you. Could be yours, could be your cousin's, could be one you bought online, could be whatever. You don't care. And the employer doesn't see your card, just goes, okay, you gave me a Social Security number, done. And they pay you their Social Security number. So you get taxes taken out from that Social Security number. And sometimes they'll use it multiple times, 3, 4, who knows, right? I'm an employer in Queens. There's another guy using it in, Albany, another guy using it in Baltimore. We don't know, whatever. And we don't care. We've done our job, taxes being paid, move on. That happens often. There was a rule in New York State that they're trying to get people to pay double overtime and for farm workers. And the farmers were like, well, I can't afford that. I can't keep you on. And the worker said, but I want to work more. I can't. It's against the law. Well, what if it's not me? What do you mean? What if I give you 2 separate Social Security numbers? So I can work double shifts. You don't pay me double overtime, but just get me paid. Oh, okay. So now he's Pablo. Check out. Now I'm Julio. Same guy. Change his Social Security number. Boom. So they go around it, right? Because this thing doesn't work, they go around it. So you're right when it comes to paying taxes. The only part that gets me is I don't think it's that much racism. I'm sure there's some. I don't think there's that much of it. And I also don't think most of them own homes. I'd be surprised if that's true. But again, I don't have data, but my gut tells me that's not true. Matt Eyes, another membership. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. We keep going. I know I went long on that. I apologize that. So yes. And Mike, see, Mike's not being racist when he says this. Mike is being righteous. He's saying it's the law. The answer is they broke the law and deserve punishment, right? I disagree, but I get it. I think most laws are garbage. You know that. Libertarian in me always screams. Most are garbage. Written by brain dead chimps in an assembly or a Congress who don't care about us or the Constitution, and ignored by shitty judges who care only about the party system and not about the Constitution. And I think most of them think that way. So yeah, I get where you're coming from, and I think most people do. I just don't care. I think most laws are garbage. We haven't needed a new law since like 12, like that. Like almost every law since 1912 has been a garbage law. I'm exaggerating, but almost. What laws were valuable since 1912? We already had murder, rape. I said a bad word on YouTube now. RAPE, whatever. Theft, assault. They were on the books already. Fraud was already a crime. We already had it. We had the big ones on the books 120 years ago. Every law since then has just been some reason to control you for some stupid reason. I wish I was joking. That's what they are. And now we can't. I don't care. Most of these laws are garbage. New York State passed what? 600 laws last year? 600 bills? None of them were valuable. Not one. If none of them were made, if not one of them, it wouldn't matter. It's irrelevant. They're all garbage. All the worst laws are already on the books. All we do is we just keep making illegal things illegaler. Stupid. Useless. Anyway, that's just my view. So, Michael says, why do Americans have to pander to illegals? Well, I think they don't. In general. However, here's my response. Because we've already made the error and let 20 million in the country. And it is physically impossible to remove them. That's the reason. You might not like that answer, and I get you not liking it. I'm being realistic here. Again, to my earlier point, if I say, hey, Michael, come into my home and I'll make you dinner. And you go, oh, great, Larry, thanks. And they stay for a month. And you go, great, thank you. Well, now I want to throw you out next week. That's my fault. That's not yours. I invited you in. I cooked you dinner. I said, stay. You might go, well, Larry, I didn't say, you didn't say that, Mike. I know you didn't, and neither did Mike Voss. You guys clearly did not say that. But you know who did? Kathy Hochul did. She said that. So did Eric Adams at first. He changed his mind, but he said it. So did Joe Biden. He said it. He said, come on in. He invited them. He was a representation. He invited them. He let them in. He gave them food. Eric Adams gave him food and clothes. Kathy Hochul gave him money. Biden gave him checks. That's the reason. I know you don't like it, but I'm answering your question. That's the reason why. Because we made that error and brought them in without thinking. I'm sorry, that's not true. Without doing the right thing. We totally thought about it. We know what we were doing. But this is what we did. So now we're in this spot. I don't blame them. I blame us. We made a mistake. So yes. Sarah goes on to say, I feel like it's the next generation that joins the welfare state. In my experience, those first immigrants are workers, and often their children, they arrive without too. Generally speaking, it's third generation. Generally speaking, third generation. First generation works hard, and second generation becomes professionals. So it's entrepreneurs, professionals, whatevs. That's what usually happens, Sarah. That's the norm. The normal pattern is entrepreneurs, professionals, whatevs. And that's kind of how all immigrants work, right? Even you coming from Nigeria, coming from Germany, you coming from wherever, the first group works hard physically, usually in some kind of entrepreneurial spirit. So they work hard so their kids can go to college and get very educated and become some kind of professional, whatever that professional is, engineer, doctor, lawyer, some kind of professional. And then after that, whatevs, we see what happens. That's how it usually works. It's usually third generation where it becomes whatevs. That's why, that's a reason why we want to keep doing it. Yes. So, all righty. Let me grab a couple more of this if I can. He's talking to Patty, not talking to me. I appreciate that all. There we go. All right. Let me keep going. Michael says, I am sure as hell no immigrant. I was born here. What BS? Did someone say you were an immigrant? I don't think you were. I didn't think someone said you were an immigrant, did they? I hope not. I wasn't assuming you were an immigrant, Michael, at all. I wasn't. Yes. Yep. All right. Oh, Michael's mad at me now. He says the country is so effed. Good night. You already gave your country away. I didn't give the country away, brother. I didn't. You can be mad at me if you want to. I didn't give it away. That wasn't me. That was others. That wasn't me. I didn't give it away. But I get your anger. But that's just not true. That I didn't do it. I was the one trying to find the real answer. By the way, for those of you still listening, and Mike, hope you're still listening or watching, I had an answer for this in 2018, 7 years ago. Now we know you did. Yeah. It's documented on my website. I talked about it on my Glenn Beck interview, and I spoke about it also on my Joe Rogan interview. I gave the answer for this when I was running for governor back in 2018. So I already had an answer. I didn't give it away, Michael. I had an actual answer to stop this. We could have fixed this. No one listened to me. They did op-eds on my answer in California in newspapers back in 2020 and 2022. I forgot which papers. I could find it if anybody cares. Op-eds on my idea called the 2 Ellis Island Plan. That's what they called it, the 2 Ellis Island Plan. But whatever, you can call it whatever you want. I don't care. But that was mine. So I already had a plan years ago. Nobody cared. Now we got this. And I didn't give my country away. You know who did? The politicians who love big business, who want these workers. Who's going to work in the factories? Fixing all the robots. I'm not joking. Who's going to fix the robots? Who's going to clean up after the robots? Who's going to put maintenance on the robots? It's like women don't want those jobs. I'm exaggerating. The vast majority of women don't want those jobs. And 8 million men have checked out. They've checked out. They don't want jobs. They don't want families. They want to sit around and play video games all day. That's 8 million men. Who can do that? Someone's got to do it, Michael. There ain't enough American men to do it. That's why they wanted immigrants. That's who gave it away. It wasn't me. I didn't do that. I had an answer. See, I talk trash about how bad it is, but never do you hear me talk trash and not have an answer. Never. If I talk trash, I got an answer. Because I know that if I have a bad answer or no answer, they go with the bad answer. Every time. Not sometimes, not once in a while. That's 100%. Every time that happens. Well, I would like them to not take the bad answer. Therefore, if I want that to be true, I have to provide them with a better answer. Or I'm just full of crap. Anybody else? You know, it's bad, or they're wrong, or it's the law. Nobody cares. If they cared, to both Mikes, we wouldn't have all these immigrants, would we? The evidence is right there. Mike Voss said it. They're illegal. They need to be punished. Clearly, that's not happening, is it? It's not. If Americans cared so much, Trump wouldn't have to worry about it. But now he has to do his $1,000 to bribe them out because it's not working. It's just not working. It's not a thing. I get you want to shake your fist. I get it. I feel it too. It doesn't work. John says, my grandfather legally immigrated from Poland in the early 1900s and worked 6 days a week mining coal. During World War II, the miners on their one day off would go to a local bar and hang out in groups of people from their home country. However, when Kate Smith's God Bless America came on the radio, they all stopped and stood, hand to heart, many with tears in their eyes, because they were so happy to have the opportunity to live in America. Big difference from today's illegal immigrants. True. True. Wade says, why would anyone move back to the cartel hell? True. Exactly. They would have to get their cash to the cartel just to enter the country. Valid point, Wade. That's why it's not going to work. Right? It's not going to work. You have to give them a reason to come back or some hope. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Right? I know Mike is correct legally. He's saying you're creating, if you go there, it's a revolving door. Yes, but it's the only thing that will work. It will work. That's the difference. Doing it, being the righteous one doesn't work. It's not working. It was never going to work. It was never going to work. And it doesn't work. So yes. So I'm saying what's going to work. Mass Manawa says, Americans have historically been fine with slave labor. True. Let me be very clear about something for everybody. For those of you who are mad or upset about this, I get it. But America has always relied on cheap immigrant labor. Always. Since its beginning. First, it was indentured servants. That's when heavy Irish came over, right? Irish, some other people from Catholics would come over, and they were heavily indentured servants. They called them slaves. They weren't really slaves. They were indentured servants, which is still bad, basically, but almost slaves, right? But still bad. But that was the first spot. Then they went, oh, why do that when we use these black slaves? We'll do that instead. So that's slave labor. That was great. Then the slaves are gone. Now what? Well, let's use the black people as sharecroppers. So not slaves, but almost. Then let's bring in a bunch of Irish, a bunch of Italians, and a bunch of Jews. We'll bring all them in because they're not wasps, and we'll just treat them like garbage and make them like that. Yeah, we did that. Then we said, you know what? Let's use Chinese. We'll use Chinese. That'll work too. Also, they're not waspy, so we can use them. Exactly correct. We use them. So we used our immigrants always, and we still weren't done. We said, let's use Mexicans. Let's do that now. Let's use Middle Easterners. Let's use Indians. We used a bunch of Indians in the 60s and 70s to come over and do a bunch of work. Let's use them. And now we still use Indians for our tech work cheap. So yeah, we've been using cheap immigrant labor since the beginning, since literally the dreaded year of 1619. I know some of you just got triggered. Mike, I'm trying to trigger you. Yes, but it's true. We've been using immigrant labor. That's how the country's been built forever. It has not changed. Might it change one day? Maybe. But now we're doing it again. We're doing it all over again. It has not changed. That has been that. Yes. So anyway, all righty. Kim's cracking jokes. She says, buyback policies never work. Ask how many prostitutes going to sell their moneymakers. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Absolutely. It's true. She's cracking jokes today. I like it. So yes. All righty. Matt says, gifting memberships makes me feel all warm and giggly inside. Just saying, everyone. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Liberty Lady says, Sharpies are awesome. True. Yes. Grace says, I have seen Southern farmers beg people to work in groves for a viable wage. Americans won't do it. Americans won't pick oranges. You are correct. This is what people keep saying. These are people who will take these jobs. No, they won't. They tried this. You're right. Southern farmers. There was one state. Was it Mississippi? I think it was Mississippi or it was Alabama who actually got rid of all their illegal immigrants, passed a law against them. And what happened? The crops just sat in the fields. And of course, the response to get people, if they pay a living wage, people do it. They did. They paid above average wages, above average, not minimum. Whatever the average was in that state, they paid more than average. So that means talking probably more like almost double minimum wage. So more than average. Americans might take it. They would say no. There's jobs now you can take in certain parts of the country where you get paid $35 to $40 an hour. But you know where they are? Slaughterhouses. Yes. You want to work in a slaughterhouse? Americans won't do it. They won't work in a slaughterhouse. They won't do it. Now, you might go, is $35, $40 a lot of money? Do you know where slaughterhouses are? They're not in big cities. They're in rural areas. So yes, in a rural area, if you make $35, $40 an hour, you're good. That is more than a living wage, right? New York City, you're paying your rent, kinda, right? I got it. But you live in a rural area and you're getting paid $35, $40 an hour, you good. You got no problems. You can pay your bills, live a life, buy a car. You're fine in rural parts of America. You are fine. Americans will not take that job. You are correct. This is a story we tell ourselves. They are not taking jobs that Americans want. Taking jobs nobody wants. That's how it works. Yes. All righty. Sarah says, I didn't watch, but I heard Theo Von humiliated Mark Zuckerberg. So don't worry, Larry. Facebook will get calmer. I hope so. I really hope so. It drives me crazy how badly they hammered me, right? They really hammered me. Maybe we'll fix it. Who knows? I'm hoping. I'm hoping so. Liberty says, well, in general, we are growing. That's true, but far slower than I wanted. But yes, you're not wrong. We are growing. It's true. We are absolutely growing. Yes. 100%. 100%. Yes. All righty. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to grab some more of these. I appreciate all these guys. You guys keep popping up. All right. Morgan says, to expedite those who came here illegally is a slap in the face of those who are still wanting to do it, to wait and do it legally. Same slap in the face for those veterans that are suffering, any other citizen that's been neglected because of international forever wars. Well, here was my plan, Morgan, to be forward with you. My plan was that you would allow private companies to create as many Ellis Islands as they want, right? You give them, all you do is you lease out the land. So all the federal government does, it gets cash from leasing out the federal land that it gives out to whatever people are to make their spot. They follow all the rules of the federal government. Similar, we do this already. For example, if you get your car inspected, at least in New York, wherever you live, I'm not sure other people live out here who are listening, but New York State, you don't have to go to a government facility to get your car inspected yearly. You go to a local garage that's authorized by the state government to inspect your car. And if they do the right thing, whatever the thing is, they give you a sticker. Done. Why can't we have the same thing for these issues? For green cards or work visas? Maybe just work visas only. Maybe just work visas, right? You have for work visas. Maybe that's what it is. So they can open as many as they want. So if you're in line legally, get out of that line and go to there. Anyone can go. You don't have to stand crossing the border. So let's say I'm waiting, I'm in here and I've been waiting, I've been in line doing things right, but the federal government is so damn slow. I can go there. I don't need the federal government then. I can go down to things. Anyone can go there. We're not expediting the people who are here illegally. We're expediting anybody who wants to come here. That's what we're doing. Anybody can go, right? And that's why it becomes fair. Now, my reason for the $1,000 thing is because we have this idea of giving them $1,000. If we're going to do the $1,000 thing, then it should be done this way. But in my plan, we don't give them anything. Just come. They might go, lie, why would you give them anything? Okay, if you're here working illegally, you're making money. Take that money and pay your way through this, just like anybody else could. If you're coming here illegally, don't come here illegally, go through the Ellis Island on the border where they don't have any money. They're paying jackals to bring them across, coyotes. I'm sorry, not jackals. The coyotes to bring them across. Don't pay the coyote. Pay these people. You got money. If you're coming here, you have money because you paid somebody to come here. So don't pay them. Just pay the Ellis Island. So it is fair because anybody can go. It's just a private company. The $1,000 thing is only because Trump wants to give $1,000 away. I wouldn't give any money away. That was not part of my plan. I'm a libertarian. To give government money away? Stop. I had no plan to give money away. If you're here working illegally, you're making money. So if they charge $1,000 or whatever they charge, 500, whatever the charge is, you pay it. You make your money, save your money, go get legal. If you've been working here if you've been here all this time, sitting in line for years, you make money, otherwise you can't survive. Take that money, give it to them, go past the line. Make it so well that the government is terrible at it. The government doesn't do it anymore. Government can shut it down. Let all private companies do it. They go, how could you get rid of that? New York State doesn't inspect vehicles. They don't have a division. They don't inspect vehicles. Well, Larry, have the vehicles inspected? Yes, and the private sector does it for them. So why does the federal government have to do visas? You don't have to. Have private sector do it. Right? The federal government makes the rules. Here's what you must do. Follow these rules. We inspect you, and done. Go. Do it with cars. Do it with people. What's the difference? So yeah, I hope that makes sense. All righty. Grace goes on to say, we have illegals here in Florida. Farmers still can't get people to work in the groves. It's crazy. And the illegals are picky because they will travel to places that pay even better in the U.S. Yes. This is how the market actually works. Labor, when valuable, is just as powerful as companies when valuable. When labor is not valuable, no, not at all. So yeah, in any case, that's what does matter. So Morgan says, bring Andrew Yang on to discuss UBI. I would, but the problem is I like Andrew. He's my friend. I don't know if I want to do that to him. I want to keep talking to him. So maybe I won't. So maybe I won't, but I get it. I get what you're saying. I do. I get where your head is. So yeah. Joel says, I vilify politicians. Me too. Yes. Matchman Hour says, UBI, raising minimum wage, or capping corporate profits. Which do you think will be the most effective? Oh my God. So brain cancer, stomach cancer, or lung cancer is what you basically tell me, right? Which is better? I know that was kind of morbid, but none of them are good. Here's the problem, Mastermind. If we as Americans, if we as libertarians, as people who care about freedom at all, if we don't come up with a better answer, we're going to get one, if not all of these. Yet again, I'll keep saying it. If we have an option between a no answer or a bad answer, we take the bad answer every time. So if it's like, everything's fine, don't worry, or UBI, we go on UBI. That's how that works. So which is the most... If you cap corporate profits, that may be the most effective. Why do I say that? Because they'll scam other ways of putting their money someplace. So that might be the most effective. Corporations are brilliant in dodging these things. So if you cap the profits, they'll find a way to not call it a profit. I do it all the time. All the time. I have more than one entity, and I use them as I see fit. So I would say capping corporate profits, right? Yeah, because the companies will figure out a way to say, well, that's not profit. Well, that's not profit. Well, that's an expense. They'll find a way of recategorizing things so they'll get away. So I'm going to go, if I got to pick these three, I'm going to go with capping corporate profits because I think they'll get around it easiest. Hope that makes sense. Not sure if you believe me, but I think that makes sense. So there we go. Yeah. All righty. Let me keep going here. So many of these. All right. Joel says, a new pickup line. I know you can get $5,000 from the government. That's not bad. I like that one. I do like that one. That's not bad. Yeah. There we go. Liberty says, Peter did a video on crossings from Canada into upstate past September. Now I'm out. Later. Good talking to you. Yes. People don't realize New York absolutely is a border state. People think New York isn't. It is. We border Canada. We got those damn Canadians coming across the border. Damn you Canadians. Yes, I'm fine with Canadians. I don't care. I'm totally teasing you. So yes, 100%. Yeah, I do think that we are a border state. We do deal with some issues. Obviously different than the others. So yes. Roger says, got here late, Larry, the Deporter-in-Chief Obama. Yes, the first Trump wants to give us a one-time 5,000. Now 1,000 immigrants to leave. Wow. I know. Why is he giving it all? I thought he was saving money. Now he's giving it all out? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So Mike says, I dispute that. If it were true, New York City, Boston, Chicago, he says it would not be breaking infrastructure. I must have missed something. Is that you're saying you dispute that we wanted it? I'm not sure what you dispute, Mike. I'm not sure. Is that me or is that for someone else? I must have zipped past it. I'm not sure what you dispute. So I can't really respond to that. Are you disputing that we wanted it? I think we did want it. I think it was obvious that we wanted it. Boston infrastructure was not broken as much. Boston actually survived the best out of all three. So I think Boston kind of weathered the storm relatively well compared to the others. New York was a disaster. Chicago was bad. Boston actually got away with the best of all three cities. I don't know if it's because of their infrastructure, because their mayor, I don't know, immigrant culture. I'm not really sure why, but they weathered the storm the best. Least amount of crime, least amount of disruption. Boston did a pretty good job in general compared to the others. A much better job. So I don't really know why before. I haven't checked the details of that, but they did better than all the rest. So, but yeah, the people came to New York and then they went someplace else. So those 200,000 migrants are not still in New York City. They came to New York City. Many of them went someplace else. They went to upstate New York to work, New Jersey to work, someplace else to work. But the center was us because we pandered them. That's what we did. So yes. All righty. Let's see if I can go down here. Maybe I missed a couple of these things. All righty. Morgan says, California was giving cash incentives to foreign-born citizens. I did not know that. Really? That's funny. That is funny. Okay. Yeah. I'm surprised that. Okay. All right. John says, as a cabbie, I hear the stories of customers I have. I'm right on the Canadian border. There we go. Yes, here in New York. Oh, you're in Plattsburgh. Yep, absolutely. And so many are here. I've actually met John too. I know you guys are like, Larry, you've met half your people. Yeah, I have. It's true. Yes. And many are here with work visas or are J1 students and are scared they'll be sent home and lose those visas they paid for and waited years to get. Also, a few that just got married to Canadians that they met while at college don't know what will happen. That was an issue, believe it or not, with Spike Cohen during the lockdowns. Spike Cohen's wife is Canadian. Most people don't know that, but that's true. So she couldn't go back home to see her family because she was scared she wouldn't be able to come back because of the lockdowns. So yeah, she was kind of like stranded. They didn't want to go. Very true. Yes. Grace says the browning of the church is because Christianity may be less influential in the U.S., but the church / Catholics and Protestants is growing in Africa and Asia. That's true. There is a lot more growth in Africa and Asia. That's true. Yes. And yeah, absolutely. Yep. All right. Roger says, Larry, I don't care what that guy said. It ain't no pair bonding. Married women are not having babies as well. They already pair bonded. It's paychecks. No. You didn't hear what I said. I said pair bonding with men who they want to have children with. They don't have children with those men. They're still pair bonding. They don't have children with them. They don't want to. They don't want to. That's the issue. Here's how it works. If women want to have children, they have children. They don't want to. They're choosing not to. So yes. Phil says, bad Pablo becomes good Julio. Yep. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go back to Roger. You know women. I know you do because I know them. Never been married. Poor. Not doing well at all. On public assistance. On and off, or on permanently, or on and off. Got 2, 3, 4 babies. Why? Because they find men they want to have babies with. That's it. They find men they want to have babies with. Sadly, many of those men leave, but some stay, but many leave. Yeah. Happens all the time. That's how it works. So, yes. All righty. Mike's on Duke Effects. Multiple studies over years confirm illegals are net draining the economy. Sure, a handful may contribute, but massively outweighed by those that don't. I don't think it's massively. I think you're exaggerating. I don't think it's massively. But the second piece is then make them legal, and then that would change. You can just make them legal. Find a smart, savvy way to make them legal, and that goes away. That's true. Find a way of making them legal, and that goes away. And they don't. That's our problem. Yes. So Roger says, brain dead lawmakers, new argument why we need direct democracy in every state until we can practice it nationally. I'm not against the idea. I could consider it. So maybe. I'm open to that concept. Yes. Christine says illegaler. That's what she does. She makes illegal things illegaler. That's what she does all the time. That's her signature move. That is her signature move. Absolutely. Totally her signature move. Yes. All right. Let's see if I can grab a couple more of these. Sarah says, it's America's fault they joined the welfare state. Correct. Yes. Roger says, Sarah, yep. It's correct. Yes. I'm not, look, I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at them. Phil says, Larry, war is a racket. Sharpe. Thank you for that. Yes. Thank you for that. Smedley Butler one. Yes. I appreciate that. Absolutely. That was Smedley Butler. Yep. 100%. I'm now that. Yes. All right. Oh, you're the one who made Michael Roden angry. Okay, it was you, Duke. That's why he left. You scared Michael off or pushed him off. Michael Roden is an immigrant. Roden's a European surname. Uh-oh. Now you got him. That's it. You sent him away. That's your fault. That's fine. There we go. Yes. Mastermind says, I'm going to make $1 million inventing a robot that fixes robots. That is already being done. That's already being done, but someone has to fix those robots. Eventually, it's already happening. There's a thing called, if I get it right, I think it's called a dark factory. That's what it's called. It's called dark factory. It's a factory that has no people in it. Already exists. No people. All robots, top to bottom. It's dark because you need the lights. Why bother? No one looking around. No eyeballs. So the energy is not put in lights. It's just in robots. It's called dark factory. Already exists. So yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're on our way to being there. Yes. So there we go. All righty. Sarah says, if you ever taught ESL, you know those immigrants who believe in the American dream are still alive and well. And I actually have a certificate to teach ESL. I taught English for 4 years. You are correct. That is accurate. Yes, you're like, Larry did that? I did that too. Yes, I did. Absolutely. Yes. Phil says, chattel slavery was a worse form of slavery developed in the New World. Correct. Chattel slavery was only in the New World. That it only existed here. That's the only place it existed. So yes, that is the only place it existed. That's accurate. And it was the worst form of slavery. Also true. Yep. 100%. That is actually true. Yes. All righty. Boston SJB says the 4,700 to send each illegal out is better than the 1,700 to arrest. True. And the tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands in benefits illegals get each year. True. I'm not saying you're wrong. When it comes to dollars, you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. You're correct when it comes to dollars. The problem is people aren't going to do it. They're not. They're not going to do it. It's not a thing, right? It's to give someone $1,000 when they're making more than that working now, or $1,000 if they're a criminal, they're not going to go. They make tons of money more than that now, or $1,000 if they're actually an asylum seeker, and there are some of those, they're not going to go back. It's not a thing. Holman already said it. 7,000 people out of 20 million. It's not going to work. I think Mike is right when he says it's kind of like virtue signaling to make the left happy, but it doesn't make the left happy. It's bad virtue signaling. So yeah, it's bad virtue signaling. Yes. Matt says, well, they're right. I'm not picking oranges for $14. No, it was more. It was more. Matt says I pick it for $25 more. You probably could have got that. You can get that kind of salary if you're prepared to move and live in more rural areas. You can. I'm not joking. You can get a job for $30, $35, $40 an hour if you're prepared to work in a slaughterhouse in a rural area. You can. There's, you gotta live in a rural area. Some people don't like that. I don't know if you care, Matt. If you don't care, it's fine. If you do care, that's a problem. And you got to be prepared to work in a slaughterhouse. A lot of people don't want to work in a slaughterhouse. You want to be gutting animals all day? Some people, okay. So yes. Blue Girl 77 says, oh God, I can never work in a slaughterhouse. Can't unsee that. Correct. That's my point. And a lot of them won't do it. Yes. Jared says it's a cultural thing as well. Americans think they're above being farmers and farm laborers. True. We've been told a lie for decades. And now you're going to get me triggered, Jared. But yes, we've been told a lie for decades. We've been told a lie that the answer is go to college, go get a 4-year degree. And once you get your 4-year degree, then all of a sudden, magically, you are going to get a great job, and it's going to be a computer job, and it's going to be 6 figures. Well, that hasn't been true in decades, still isn't true. And we've also been told for decades, when you're in high school, don't be a laborer. Don't go to the trade school. That's for the bad kids, or that's for the dumb kids. They've been telling us that for decades. Why? Because the federal government gives them money based upon their college placement, a percentage. So they don't get paid if you don't go to college. So they push them to college. I wish I was joking. I'm not. That's how it works. So you're right, Jared. So now we've been told for years that's a bad thing. So they ignore us and go, no, don't go there. Go to college. Well, now I feel like I've failed if I go become a laborer. Meanwhile, I said this all the time in New York. You got a New York kid, goes to college, maybe goes to his master's degree. Now he's $100,000 in debt and he's a damn barista. It's the old time. Well, the dumb kid, yes, I'm using air quotes, goes to a trade school, becomes a plumber or whatever, a carpenter or something, and now he's 26 years old. He's not a barista. He's making at least $80K a year, if not more, minimum $80K, and he has no debt. Huh. Who's the dumb kid again? I'm not sure which one's the dumb kid. Seems like the barista's the dumb kid, not the plumber. But anyway, yes, absolutely. So Boston says, I'd work in a slaughterhouse for $40 an hour, but I'm already in a rural area, West Florida, nice 30-acre property, 18,000 square foot house. Nice. Nicely done. There we go. I like that. That's good. Yeah. Again, people can do it. People can do it. Lee says, it's clear Trump has failed. This policy for sure. This is not working. I think you're right. This policy is absolutely not working, Lee. This policy is failing. Yes. So, any case. All righty. Sarah says, I process my own chickens after being vegan 32 years. Wow. Was a vegetarian? Whichever. It's very hard work. And that's me working for myself. Slaughterhouses are important, very hard jobs. True, which is why we get immigrants to do it. You're right. Yes. That's exactly right. Yes. Absolutely. So average pay for a fruit picker, $16.95. In New York, $18.50. Max national, $20 per quick search. Yeah, I think most of that's true. And what happened was when I think it was Alabama, or maybe it was Mississippi, one of those two. They raised the salary past that to get Americans to come in. So if the average in that state was $16.95, whatever it is, they were doing like $24 or whatever the equivalent would have been then. So they raised the price past the max national to get Americans in. Americans wouldn't do it. So they said, okay, we'll bring the immigrants back. And the immigrants would do it for $16.95. So yes, so immigrants will do that job $6.95. Americans won't do it for whatever, 24, whatever the price was. So yes, in this specific case I was talking about, they raised the price than the normal price because that was a normal price. So yeah, absolutely. That's definitely an issue. So yeah. And the average fruit picker price, as you look at it, $18.50 in New York. You might go, is that a lot of money in New York? In New York City, it's not. But you're not picking fruit in New York City. You're picking fruit in the rural areas. The minimum wage in New York State, I'm pretty sure it's what, $14 upstate New York, 15 in the city, 14 in upstate New York. So you're getting $4 more than minimum wage to pick fruit in New York State. That's not a bad deal to be forward, particularly if you're an immigrant. Not a bad deal at all. Not bad. In most parts of the country, $16.95 an hour, not bad. Look, I'm not saying you're making $1 million. I'm not saying it's great, but you're picking fruit. Not bad. Not a terrible amount of money to make. Is more than minimum wage? Yes, absolutely. Phil, thank you for the $5. Do you think that welfare and disability compete with employers? All people do is in their best interest. I don't blame them. Of course it does. Of course it does. Yes, of course it does. We literally, people make decisions. You're right. Right. Am I satisfied with welfare and disability versus working? And some people will be and some people won't. Now, do I think it's a massive, reason why people aren't working? No, I don't think it's massive, but I think it does affect the market. Of course it does. Right? That you will pull people out of the market who won't work because they'll decide to go on disability and their welfare. Who knows what percentage that is? Not just that, do women also decide to have children out of wedlock because of that? Some do. Now, the image is it's a massive thing with welfare queens and such. That is nowhere near the norm. Does it happen? It does. Of course it does. And you can see them they do videos on it. YouTube video, TikTok videos on women who tell you how to get the money and who to sleep with. It's all videos. There is a small underground of women who do that. Of course there is. But it's the problem is you see a couple of videos on TikTok and think that's what all women are doing. No, but there are women who do it. Of course, there are men who purposely, get hurt or fall off a bike, or whatever. I remember I had a buddy of mine actually did it. Well, not a buddy, a guy I knew, I should say, who literally was deciding on how he can ride his bike. I'm not joking, over an area that has bumps so he could fall and sue the government on disability. Does happen. Yes. Again, do I think it's most people? No, of course not. But there is a percentage of people who do it. So there is some competition. Yes. How much? I don't know how you would know how much that is. I'm not sure how you would know. I don't know. So, any case, let's see here. Blue Girl says, we're giving them thousands of EBT cards. True. You're not wrong. In New York, we give tons away. Give them little credit cards. Tons away. 100% true. Sarah goes on and says, there are a ton of crops picked by machines nowadays. Lots of fruits and nuts. And there are tractors called Monarch tractors, totally electric and programmable to self-drive. Farms are changing. Everything is going down that road. Everything is going down that road. It's all going towards mechanical, AI, all of it is. Christine says, I think the $1,000 is the password I left. Christine agrees with you, Mike. She thinks that's true. Yes, she thinks it's true. She's with you. There we go. Mike goes on to say, I would love Yang on UBI failure. Do it. You know how I feel about that, Mike. I don't want to go that route. I appreciate it. I'm not sure. Maybe it gets more members, maybe. So, yes, absolutely. John says, cap profits. That wasn't profit. It was from the R&D. My point, John, you get it. Yes, you get it. If I got to pick any of them, that's the one I would pick. They're all bad, but if I had to pick any, that would be the one. I agree with you. See, you're on the same page as me. That's the one you pick. They'll find a way of getting around it. Yes. Blue Girl says, what does that mean, capping corporate? What it means is the government would say a company can only make a certain percentage or flat amount, usually percentage, of profit per year. Anything else is forfeit to the government. So if I'm a multi-billion-dollar company and I'm only allowed to make whatever, 2% profit or whatever is my profit margin the government decides, and I make 3% profit, 1% of that goes to the government. And automatic tax is gone. That's what corporate profit, that's what capping corporate profits would mean. So what would corporations do? Find new ways of not making profit, right? Just to John's point. Oh, that wasn't profit. That was R&D. That wasn't profit. No. That wasn't profit. That was salaries. That was bonuses. That wasn't profit. Yes. Kim says UBI will make it. UBI will be a scam. Capping corporate profits will be the best. There we go. Yeah, I think the same thing. But yeah, my worry, Kim, is you're right. My worry is that UBI is the one that wins. That is my worry. But yeah, I think you're right. John says, as a cab driver, only 20 minutes from us, customs at the Canadian border. It's mostly Haitians right now. They're looking to go to Canada. They are seeking refugee status, and we can only bring them to the customs crossing so they can have documents checked. We bring them up there daily. Wow. I did not know that. So Haitians are going to Canada. Interesting. You see, New York is a border state, guys. It's true. You guys think it's not. New York is a border state. There we go. Yes. So all good. All good. All right. Well, you guys are going back with a lot. I love that. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Is this for me calling me a piece of S, Lawrence? So basically, you're a liar and you're a clickbait artist because this is nothing to do with Trump giving $1,000 to the alliance. To the alliance. Is that what I said? Did I clickbait you guys into some alliance thing? I said Trump's giving $1,000 immigrant checks, and I've been speaking only about that, haven't I? Except for I don't know, Lawrence. I think you might be mad at me. Maybe you came in late. Just go to the front. That's all I talked about. This is now taking comments, so you might have missed it. Yeah, Little Lady says that. Yeah, Lawrence, Stone, you're late. We talked about it in the beginning. This is a live stream of an hour. Yeah, live stream's been on for an hour, almost 2 hours now. I think you just missed it, my friend. Just head on back. Been a lot of it. I guess you're mad. Please don't be mad. Come back. Yes. Patty says, Larry, unless you're a Native American, you aren't you from immigrant stock? I am. Yes, I am. I'm with you. Yes, I completely agree. Yes. But, that's fine. All good. All righty. Shin says, Larry, which president do you think we'll remember 100 years from now? You mean current presidents? I mean, we're always going to remember a couple. We're always going to remember Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln. These three we will always remember no matter what, because first presidents, those writing the Constitution, Civil War presidents, we'll always remember those. Those we'll always remember. But most of our presidents will probably be forgotten. Right? Most of them will be. Trump will not be forgotten because Trump was a very special president. Obama, because he was the first black president, we remembered for that reason, which I know sounds terrible, but still true. You'll be remembered for that. Whoever is the first woman president will be remembered because she's first woman president. So whoever that person is, eventually it's going to happen. Whenever that does, that person will be remembered also for those reasons. Hopefully the first woman president is also a good president. I hope so. The first black president wasn't so great, but that's okay. He will still be remembered because of that. Trump, because of the rebel that he is, he'll be remembered. If I had to guess, out of the most recent presidents, both Bushes will be forgotten. Carter forgotten. Nixon will be remembered because of Watergate. Kennedy because he was killed. And also Bay of Pigs and the Cuban Missile Crisis. So Kennedy will be remembered for a long time. Maybe Reagan. That's about it, I think. You go 100 years now? Yeah. Trump, Obama, Reagan, Kennedy, Nixon. And Nixon because of Watergate. So, yeah. And then whatever woman president we come in the next couple of years, when we get a woman president, again, for that. Hopefully she's a good president, too. I hope she is a good president. I hope so. But whether she is or not, she'll be remembered for that. So, yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably the most important thing. There we go. Anyway, hope I answered your question. So, all righty. Grace says, under or over the table makes a difference in salaries. Correct. That will also happen. Yes, that does change the amount, right? And most people now who are trying to, hide money will sometimes do two parts, right? So I'll go to Grace and I'll say, hey, I want to work for you, Grace. Can I get whatever, $12 an hour on the books, another 12 off the books. Literally, well, I'll say that kind of thing. 12 on plus 12 off, that kind of thing. 12 on, 12 off. So you'll put me on the books at $12 an hour so that I'm legal, and if anyone inspects me, I'm working here, I'm getting paid. Well, I'm losing all taxes. You're paying payroll tax on the $12. So I'm actually getting maybe $9, maybe if I'm lucky, right? But then I'm getting $12 off the books, which is actual. So that happens often. That's true. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. Matt says Bush because 9/11. I don't think so. We remember Pearl Harbor, but we don't remember Pearl Harbor because of FDR. That makes any sense. We remember Pearl Harbor. We don't remember it because of FDR. FDR will be known because most people think he was a great president. FDR was a horrible president, but most people think he's a great president. So he'll be remembered. But I thought you would she was asking, I assumed modern day. That's what I was assuming she was asking, but maybe I'm wrong. I assumed modern day. So yeah, modern day, 9/11 will be remembered. I don't think Bush will be remembered for it. He'll just be like some guy, but they're not gonna talk about him. They're like, we did 9/11 and Bush was there. It'll be like that. That's what I think. So just my view on that. I'm not sure that that Bush will be remembered. I think he was okay. So yes. Sarah says, Larry, what do you think about putting different people on the money? For example, I don't love Andrew Jackson. How about Larry should have a $20 bill? Well, I should be on all the money. So yes, no, it's fine. I don't care. It's all good. I think it's wonderful to put people on money. It's fine. I don't really care. I like the concept that we put people who we're supposed to respect on the money. I like the idea of it, but not only presidents go on the money, right? But I don't. It doesn't matter that much to me to be forward with you. I like the concept. I do. But are we going to start swapping it out and putting like American heroes on it? Is that a thing? I don't mind us do it in theory, but here's the problem. If we make it a thing to put people on it, then it basically becomes like a gimmick, right? It becomes like the Time Man of the Year, right? Whatever. So let's put Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger on because he was an immigrant governor of California or whatever, right? And, that's my worry about swapping things out here or there. I don't love the Andrew Jackson concept either, but he's been around 20 of this. Why would we change it? Is it for virtue signaling? Once you start that, then we got to take Washington off to 1. He was a slave owner, right? We got to take him off to 1 now because he's a slave owner, right? Can we have Lincoln on the penny? Got to get rid of that too, right? Because he was he's on a 5. Got to get rid of him off to 5 because he was a tyrant, right? He got rid of habeas corpus, so we got to get rid of him. We'll find a reason to cancel everybody, and we'll cancel everybody. So the only people on the dollar bill will be people who are either so old we can't figure out how bad they were, or the newest cool person of the day. So if Justin Bieber is funny, he'll be on the 1 or whatever, right? Whatever, that kind of thing. So I don't know if we want Justin Bieber on our. He's Canadian, isn't he? So he can't go on anyway. He's Canadian. Anyway, so any case. Christine says, President Larry Sharpe, maybe one day. We'll see. Maybe. Ryan says Reagan will be remembered. I agree. I think Reagan will be remembered. I do. I think Reagan will be remembered. I think that's true. Yes. Larry should be Tulsi's VP. Well, there we go. Then Tulsi be the first one president. Should be remembered. That would work. Yes, that would absolutely work. Yeah. I like that. Sarah says, Larry for world supreme leader and as Griffiths can be his cabinet cheerleaders. Yes. I would like Galactic Emperor. I would like that one. Galactic Emperor. How about that? That sounds good. I mean, I can call myself whatever I want, right? I just call myself that. So yeah, I will call myself Galactic Emperor. That should work. Mike asks, does everyone remember to like, share, and subscribe? I haven't said in a while, and I should. So please, guys, if you haven't already, click the button known as like. Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Also, please repost this or share this if you haven't already. Follow me on Facebook if you would. Also on X and Rumble if you would. I do appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. I appreciate all the memberships. A bunch were given out today. If you can grab some, that would be nice. I do appreciate that. Every little bit does count. We're trying to grow this to the best of our ability. I've been horribly shadow banned. So if you could jump on board and help that out with a like or a share, that would be amazing. Every bit does count. I really appreciate it. Yes. John says changing who in the money once is okay, but not more often because of cost and confusion. I'm surprised that Jackson's still in 20 because of cost and confusion. You answer your own question. So yes, I do think that's a problem. So yeah, I think doing that does, if we're doing it because of virtue signaling, it is going to be a disaster. That's an issue. So yeah, that's my concern right there. Guys, I do want you to remember something if you don't mind. Please remember that when it comes to the algorithms, They love, YouTube loves, Facebook loves when you comment after the live. It would be important, please. And I'm going to ask a very simple question, if you don't mind. Very simple. What do you think of giving immigrants money to leave? That's it. What do you think of giving immigrants money to leave? And this would be illegal migrants, obviously. What do you think about giving them money to leave? Is it a good idea? Is there a way of making it work? Is it a bad idea? Or is there's no way of making it work? Whatever you think, please put that in the comment after this is done. If you're watching this and it's not live, you're watching like a couple days later or something like that, 2 videos will pop up here. Please watch one of them. Either way, I will see you all very soon.